complete mastery. And that's what the yogi is supposed to ultimately have. Complete control, complete mastery. They've got every bit of everything all worked out. That's their claim. When you add the diminutive, Rajanika, to it, the idea is that you want to have mastery to the extent that you do, but you don't really have complete mastery. Because no one ever really does. Rajanika was a term given by the kings to the great tantric yogis as a kind of way of saying, these were our teachers, these were our counselors, these are the valuable people who surround us, and we honor them like princes and princesses, but they don't really control anything. But they can't really be controlled either. Does that make sense? And so it was a way of, Dharma is that way in which you know that you are free because you are humbled by the circumstances of your world. You know that you aren't really in control of everything. You really wouldn't want to be. I mean, does everybody in the room know what their spleen is doing right now? I'm not really sure I know what spleens do. But you don't. Because if you had to remember every breath, if you had to be sovereign over all things, you would really be a victim. And if controlling yourself really was controlling the world, you would think that whatever you thought is how the world would be. And most of us have figured out that it's not like that. But we aren't really sovereigns over more than what we can be, but as much as we can be. And so the mark of your freedom is that way in which you're not really, you are stepping into that way in which you do manage as much as you do, but you aren't deluded into thinking you manage more than you do.
But the first day we were saying that we created our reality.
Sure, the experience of the world is our experience of ourselves, right? What we know is that we're also not entirely in control of our own experience, just as much of it as we are.
Then what is that makes it, where's that line that...
Well, there are yogas that promise you Raja, complete control. We're saying, good luck. We don't think so. And that if you got it, you would actually be more oppressed than you would free. Because then you would have to, remember every breath, count on every heartbeat. You'd really be in control of everything. Would you really want that to be the case? That's for me. Thank you.
And I thought that there was a higher consciousness.
Oh, honey, you're still thinking like a Vedanta.
I mean
Like a what? Like a collective consciousness. Right. And a collective consciousness knows that the experience of freedom is always collaboration. It's always corroboration. It's always cooperation. It's never really control. How does freedom feel? It feels like collaboration, cooperation. But it doesn't really feel like control. Because, well, at least that's what we think. You can buy it or not buy it. I'm not trying to persuade you of anything. I'm just trying to describe how it works. But the point really is that is what would freedom look like? Freedom would look like a being who doesn't pretend to be in control of everything, but is, as it were, as responsible and as engaged as possible. In what? In a greater collective and collaborative effort, which is really all you can do. Because if you're really trying to master everything or control everything, you're really going to be in trouble. Benjamin.
And lack of Lila is an element of what's
Yeah.
opposing the universe also.
Louder bit, because you said it was really important and you said it fast.
Yeah. Well,
Say it
basically,
again.
if you say there's a Raja Yoga where you have complete control of everything, then it takes Lila out of the
It takes Lila out of the equation. Because you're really saying it's a karmic universe, everything has a reason, everything has a cause, everything has a probability, and I'm in charge. I got it. That's the story until we reach these first century texts, where Lila is now, you can be as in control as you think you are, but Lila happens. Go ahead.
The other thing that it occurs to me when you're talking about in terms of the way of the Rajanika is that you act, preemptively in ways that make sense for you to act, to work, to interact with the world of karma and to your understanding of your dharma to the extent possible. But when Leela appears, you try to make the most skillful choice about how to react to something.
When Leela appears, you have to receive what's happening, not as one in control, but as one receiving what the world is actually offering. And you can't make yoga wishing the world was doing something other than what it's really doing. Right.
So if there's a Vedanta and a Tantrikas on a plane sitting next to one another, the plane is like inevitably...
So Vedanta and a Tantrika
So the plane's inevitably going down. What is each one look like?
Well, the Vedantin goes, I'm one, there's really no problem here. The Tantrika goes, do over. Do over. It's like the plane's going down and you're going, do over. Can we do this again? I don't know, man. We'll have that. All I can tell you is that the last time I had a minute to think about crashing the bicycle and almost dying, the only thing I could think of doing is that the last thing I wanted to say was that I wanted to laugh. Like I knew I wasn't in control. I knew I was going down. I tried to make the best of it as I could. That's how I broke my shoulder. I'll just tell you, I have the story I broke my shoulder. Right? So it's completely my fault. I'm thinking about 7 dances of Nataraja. I'm not thinking about going 45 miles an hour on a descent that has a sharp turn at the bottom that I know is there, that I am ignoring because I'm thinking about something else. Bad yoga, right? So I'm descending, I'm going too fast, I'm going to miss the turn. I'm going to hit the guardrail, like T-bone, which means over the bike, into the forest, which means like, impale. Stick through the gut. They'll find me in the winter. Because I'm on a road so remote, there's nobody there, right? So instead, I pull the bike. I'm making the best choice out of a bad set of choices, as far as I can tell. I pull the bike on the gravel and kick the bike out and hit the deck. Because the asphalt is going to be way worse than hitting the barrier. Because the barrier might include death. And that wasn't on today's dance card. Right? But the second before I go down, there's nobody around. I shout at the top of my lungs, do over. Because I realized that if I had just been paying attention for the previous 40 seconds, I wouldn't be in the problem I'm in. Because I thought that was about the funniest thing I could think of to say at the moment. Because I really think that, like, in the end, you know you're not in control. All you can really do is say thank you, and it's been a really interesting ride. Like all you can really do is just be grateful and say and smile a little, like laugh a little at, okay, now's the moment. See is, have fun storming the castle. What can you say? I mean, like, it's just not, Rajana is that notion that when you give up trying to be in charge, you let freedom be what it is. Now, what I failed to do is be Rajanika enough, because I could have avoided the problem. All I had to do was pay attention, and I didn't. I'm making a lot out of a little, but I'm just trying to explain. The term here really is a description of how you're experiencing. And our goal is that those that think they are in complete control are probably kidding themselves. That's why I make a joke. Because you're really not. Because Leela happens. Sometimes it's really good Leela, and sometimes it's not. It's making any sense to you. So,
just one thing.
Good. No, you're good. I love your question.
They give you an idea, this later yoga gives you an idea that it's one individual consciousness,
one collective consciousness.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's a collection of more than individuals, for sure.
So, like, that you're falsely identified with an ego.
No. You are correct. Yeah, you can be falsely identified with an ego. What you want to do is be properly identified with your ego. If my ego were properly identified, I wouldn't have lost attention on the descent. I would have gone, ego doesn't want to crash.